Hey there, beautiful people. My name is Tim Lee. Welcome to Draw Too Much and another Draw Too Much sketch lesson, a critique of another one of my awesome students. This is Jordan, and she's been doing awesome work these days. Her caricatures have just jumped leaps upon leaps of bounds, and it's been really great to seeing her improve like crazy. Got some advice that I can give her on this piece. We're going to talk a little bit about it, and if you have any thoughts or comments, leave them in the comment box below. Hit that like button, subscribe, and consider joining the class. We do it once a month. Coronavirus ain't stopping us for nothing. You can get enrolled on Patreon down in the link below. So let's go ahead and get right down to the nitty-gritty here. By the way, I don't have a voice. I've lost my voice, and it's only going to get worse through this video. So if you do stick around in this video, the one thing, if you're not enjoying the drawing, is you will enjoy my voice just getting worse over time. So please bear with me as the voice gets constantly worse. So once again, another drawn silly piece from Jordan. She's been doing awesome work. She's improved leaps and bounds. I told her she needs to get her stuff up on Facebook. She's already making some sales. She's doing absolutely fabulous. Her line work has improved vastly over some of the other pieces she's doing. Now it's just down to technique, 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 technique. She's getting likeness. Likeness is starting to hang on her. She's getting the hang of it. But now she's got to worry about that technique. So we're going to worry about technique in this video, and we're going to help her kind of refine some of the things that she's got going on here. Are we ready? All right, let's get started. Let me go ahead and start here real quick here by putting a layer of white over top this artwork, and that's going to allow me to draw over top of this and just keep things really, really simple here. So we just want to make it so we can kind of see through it and be able to see what I'm sketching over top, and it gives us a bit of a way to work. And then finally, let me erase over the original image so we get a nice clear view of the original image. First thing, great job on the likeness. I mean, seriously, great job on likeness. I'm very pleased to see how much she has improved, especially when you're drawing the likeness straight on with someone. That's incredibly challenging, and I can tell that you nailed it, especially on the girl. The girl looks absolutely fabulous. And yes, I see it in the guy, 100%. Now let's talk about how we can clean up the line work and how we can work on refinement. And if you're drawing this fast, you know, then great. If you've slowed down and you're processing this a bit more, I think you can do more to clean it up and really get some of that refinement in there. So I'm going to go ahead and go in here and just start sketching over top. I just want you to pay a bit of attention to how I sketch this out. And I might pre-sketch just a little bit, just for giggles, just so we can kind of go over a few things. Let me make sure that my pencil's working here. Okay, good. And make sure it looks okay in the video. Yep, all right. So, I want to focus mainly on the guy in this one. I think the girl turned out really great. There's some little things that you could do, but I'm more worried about the guy here, and specifically his laugh lines and his mouth. We'll talk about a few of these things as we go along here, but the few things that I'm noticing about this gentleman and some of the design that you got on him is mainly in the laugh lines. When you have these bulky, full black heavy-duty laugh lines like this, that is put in just a little bit without thought. It's thrown in there and it's not refined enough, where it could have been just a little bit better. If we look at the picture here, yes, he does have extreme laugh lines, especially in the corners of the mouth, but take a look. Technically, he's got them in the corners of the mouth here, and you didn't really do that here. So first off, the laugh line starts at the top of the nostril. It's going to come down, and then it's going to make that turn right at the corner of the mouth. So wherever your corner of your mouth is, in this case, with this guy, that is where your laugh line is going to make its twist. And then it's going to come down towards the chin. And once again, we talk about that muzzle, knowing about where to place these laugh lines on the muzzle of the face. Very key thing to remember. And I think you did great, even adding in the extra chin. I think that's fine too. It's about that sharp, so you still nailed that pretty well. I'm pleased with that. But yeah, getting that laugh line is very essential. And not only getting the laugh line, but also focusing in on your pressure, your amount of pressure that you're putting on your pen as you're turning that corner around the laugh line. Let's go ahead and build outwards. I want to start on the mouth, talk about how we can refine the mouth and work our way outward so we can get to the laugh line. So by the time I'm done here, hopefully I'll have a rough sketch for you so you can get a better idea of what I would do in this scenario here, okay? Now everyone's different. Everyone's going to treat this differently, but let's take a look at what we can do. I'm going to really drop or raise the opacity on my white here so that our image underneath is pretty invisible here. And we're going to, we're going to work right over top of it and recreate some of this here, okay? All right, so let's start with the nose. The nose is good. I would probably clean it up a little more and take the nostrils out just a bit further. It's always a challenge to draw straight on. I hate drawing straight on. Even when I'm drawing straight on, I still try to draw what they call a cheater's three-quarters, which is turning the face kind of to the side. And when it comes to the nostrils and the nose and everything, you did good. One thing I would suggest is only draw a full line on one side of the nose. And then on the other side, leave it just kind of blank a little bit. And allow someone else's brain to build in that structure. The reason why you want to do that is because if you draw, like you did on the girl over here, if you draw this full line all the way down, it's just a bit too harsh. And with a young lady with a nose like hers, where she's not going to want to have that nose made very prominent, it would just be very nice for her and simple for you if you just took that line and you just kind of chose some areas to bring that nose down and bring it back up, and then create the shape of the nose on the front, and just keep it really, really simple, you know? So that just simplifies things by a lot there. And then it also kind of helps you begin to work on things like, okay, where is that shadow going to change on the face that I might need to put in later? Okay, so that helps you build out that structure. His mouth is huge, and you did a great job drawing it. I do think that there's some things that you could have done. The very corners of his mouth here and here, and I know I'm got the artwork all the way down here in the corner where you really can't see. That's a nice sharp point, okay? Really nice and sharp and edgy. Almost, you could almost overdo it. And the thing I'm seeing here is you started, but then you did this. He doesn't have that on his face. There's no creases on the side of his mouth. That's the natural thing to do because that's how we've all been drawing for years, but that's not exactly what he has. So what I would suggest doing is go ahead and build it and really let that smile become prominent with those edgy sides. Okay? And then here's the next thing. You did a great job on the smile, but there's more you could have done. And it wouldn't have taken much work. And it's just something you have to notice. It's how much of the teeth are showing, okay? So if we take a look down here, what we can see is we can definitely see a full set of big front teeth, and you did a good job exaggerating those. But I can even see some teeth tucked in the bottom. Just slight, but they are there. So to make black down here and fill all this in with black is a waste of an opportunity. That could have made it even more interesting. And then also, making a structure of the teeth is very important as well. So if I'm making a structure of the teeth, and I know I'm not quite looking at his image, let me see if I can do this really quick here. Let's go to Window, Canvas, New Window. So that's going to give us another window here where I'm going to zoom in on our couple. And we will tuck them here for now. Let's zoom out a little bit and tuck them right about there. Okay, let's release this canvas so we can see it separately off of the graphic. And we're just going to go ahead and have this slightly this way. Come on now. It's not moving. It's not letting me move it. That's weird. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and go like that and put them there. There we go. So now we can still kind of see about how that works. I am going to zoom in on just him for now. A very cute couple. So once again, we look at the negative space of the face. We've talked about this a lot in our classes. So negative space. Let's go ahead and pick some black zones here for that negative space. And I would say pick it on both sides. Now, you're drawing them straight on, so you don't really have to worry about these teeth going all the way into the back, per se. You can still make that work even here. And then go ahead and draw in those front teeth, but just keep it simple, you know. Keep it real simple for right now, because you can do more. And actually, truth be told, you can even go like this. And like this, and you got done teeth. Now here's the thing. Two things I'm seeing here. In your original artwork, if I turn off my layers, you got an awful lot of gums showing here. He does not have that many gums showing there. He does have the V of the gum, but he doesn't have that many gums showing. And gums, gums are not an appealing thing. I don't know anyone who really wants more gums in their drawing. So the less that you can put in, the better. But here's the other side of things. Gums can be attractive if put in the right amount, okay? And I think the same thing would be said about someone with big eyes. If they have big eyes, it's a very beautiful thing. If they have huge eyes, it's actually rather uncomfortable. Well, that's basically the same idea with gums. You have to pick them very, very carefully. So let's go ahead and carefully pick out the gums, all right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little V here, all right? And you can see that I'm making my pencil line smaller there, okay? And I'm going to think about how that tooth is going to lay over, and I'm going to draw another gum here, and I'll make it a little bit bigger. And I'm going to think about how much of the next tooth is going to be visible, okay? Next gum, and it's going to disappear and reappear here. And look at how my line goes from a circle to almost more of a V. And then even as it goes even further back, I'll even make it even sharper, okay? And that's supposed to be helping to make it look like it's going back. So it's that nice round arch that then gets sharper and sharper and sharper on both sides. And you can do that on both sides. Okay, and this is how you weigh how big you want these teeth to look. He's got some great teeth, so let's exaggerate those teeth in a good way. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 teeth showing here. So 1, 2... okay, and we can see most of the gum on that tooth. 3 is going to go up and sharp back down, and 4 is actually kind of turning into a square tooth and disappearing into the back there. So we're going to go ahead and go like that, and we're going to build onto the black over here, okay? Now, I'm not going to do anything really to put in the line of the bottom of the teeth. Remember what I've said in our classes. As much as possible, do not use black on teeth. If you can use less, less is so much more with teeth. As soon as you start drawing individual lines for individual teeth here, that immediately makes the teeth look more and more dirty. It makes them look more and more split apart. So don't focus on drawing the individual lines, because you're going to hurt the final likeness. You're going to hurt what the person likes. If they love their smile, he's got a big, great smile. So let's focus on making those teeth as white and vibrant as possible. So let's get rid of as much white as much black as we can out of this smile, and only put it in places where it's absolutely needed, like the sides of the face. So we got this shape going on here. We can even start building in maybe if there is any kind of extra tooth line here, you would only create that with the bottom of the teeth. You would not create that by bringing lines up into the teeth unless there's gaps. If there's gaps, draw the lines up. But save it for when you need it. It has to be used sparingly as much as possible. So right there, I don't need to do that. So we're just going to kind of do the same thing, a reverse V here, and maybe here we can bring this tooth up here. Okay, and then if we want to do it, we can even make this one a sharp snaggle kind of tooth. That can even go up there, okay? So we're just going to only utilize those V's as much as possible to really create this. All right? Now we know some of his teeth are showing on the bottom, though very, very, very minimally. So to come back in here and do a little cleanup duty here, I might actually remove some of the bottom of the mouth. And then maybe what I'll do is, I'm seeing more teeth on the right side than on the left, so I might put that in there. Let's do that. I know it's a minimal alteration, but I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to put in more teeth on the right than I will on the left. So we'll kind of close the mouth just a little bit on one side, a bit more than the other. All right, and then I'll fill in whatever's here. I'll just fill that into black. Now, if you're rushing to get this done in a realism scenario where, well, not a realism, but like a realistic caricaturing kind of event, then you're not going to be thinking about all this right now. You have a lot of learning to do to get to this point. But if you're in the home and you're studying and you're doing studio work, focus on these details now. Because when you get to do these special events, you need that studio work to kick in when you're rushing, okay? Take your time and focus on this stuff now so that when it's time to kick butt at an event, you have that knowledge already in there because you've been focusing on it. All right, he's got a couple little bits of hair here, so there's no reason that you can't include that there before you get to this chin. And nothing wrong with a dimple chin. All right, let's go ahead really quickly here, turn off the background layer, and take a look at what I have here. Doesn't that smile look so much cleaner than this does? All right, And that's because you focus on how much black is going into this face. We've also raised those gums up. He doesn't have gums that show like that. If he did, draw them like that, but he doesn't. So that's why we kind of want to reduce it, bring it back just a little bit, calm it down. By the way, if I sound mean, it's mainly because I'm losing my voice, not because I'm being mean. I swear, I love you. So here we go. We're going to turn this back on. We got this great look and smile going on here. It feels about right. And even in this moment, we can say that's a good likeness. You can see him through that smile alone, right? So we can go ahead and turn this back on. Take one more look at this. We're feeling a little better about it. Let's go ahead now and look at the next step, and that's going to be those laugh lines. Laugh lines are such a dangerous thing, and you have to be so careful. If you just take a line and jut it out there, you could mess it up. And that's not what you want to do. Okay, first off, focus where the top of that laugh line is and think about the negative space. We've talked about this in our classes. Let's go ahead and look at it here. If I was to do negative space, and we talked about this in the last video too. Watch that last video for anyone who's curious about this. Draw a big open space here like this and fill it in. Okay? When you got that filled in, you want to create that same negative space shape here on your caricature as much as possible, okay? And that's the thing. Unless you choose to exaggerate something like she exaggerated the chin, which was perfectly fine, you need to at least have this goal, this theory here in mind first before you move on. All right, let's go ahead and undo that here. Secondly, pay attention to if it's concave or convex, okay? If it's concave, that means that you can sit down here and look up and you feel like you're looking into a cave. If it's convex, then it looks like it's coming towards you like a dome, okay? Does he have convex or concave, or does he just have straight? I feel like he's fairly straight, and don't think too hard about this. Looks somewhat straight? Okay, straight, that's fine. Stop thinking so hard about it. I don't know. The one on the right looks like it's slightly convex, concave. No, don't worry about it. Back up, chill. It's all right. So what you want to do is you just want to get a quick glimpse. Okay, they look straight. That's perfectly fine. What level? Okay, what level? All right, so at the very tip up here, there's barely any line there. So that means you're not going to push real hard and create a black line there. You're going to be very gentle, and you might not even make a connecting line. Maybe you'll just do that and give it that start there. But then we look over here at the corners, and there's an obvious V there on both sides. And with how the lighting is, one side is much darker than the other. They're probably roughly the same look, but one is much harder than the other. So what you want to do is you want to go ahead and think like that, and that's totally okay to go that thick on it, but use it very, very sparingly. And then if you want, you can try and reach up and connect those lines. But use it incredibly sparingly. Same coming down this way here like that. Now, if we take a look, if we turn off the background layer here and we look, we've created a pretty decent effect. It's almost too bold. It's already almost too bold. You have to weigh this very, very carefully. And the thing is, the more black that you add, it has the danger of doing two things. Aging. Major thing is aging. And second thing is it just uglifies the work. Okay? And you've worked so hard on this, don't uglify it. Focus on getting that line work nice and clean, and so that when you're drawing really fast in that moment, when you're in that live environment and you're trying to push out caricatures, you have trained slowly to understand what needs to happen next. So focus on why those lines are hard or why those lines are soft, why they're thick, why they're thin. That's going to make all the difference. All right, let's go back here. Technically, what I would do instead of going that thick like I did with my lines, I would chill it out by a lot. Yes, he definitely has the cheeks there, but what I would do is I would keep it really calm, and I would just have a minimal line there and probably not even connect them, okay? And I would focus my attention on making sure that that mouth looks as good as possible, because yes, those laugh lines are there and they are important, but they aren't, they aren't, you know what? They're not as important as the dimples are on his face. Do you see the dimples on his face? Right here more so. He's got a dimple that's being created because of that laugh. So I'd focus on that dimple. And on the other side, he's got a great heavy-duty cheek right here. And I know you can draw cheeks, girl, because look at this. You did some great cheeks on her. So he's got some serious cheeks right here. And then a dimple that's being formed as this connects down to the chin, which would mean you could have some fun and create this kind of shape to this. Doesn't have to be done on both sides, but I mean, look at what you could have had some fun with creating, which just gives you so much more fodder to get to enjoy some of what's going on here. I mean, we're looking to have as much fun as possible, for sure, right? So we got this great looking thing going on here. We're knocking that out real quick there. Why not? And, I mean, if you're going to do it on that side, you might want to check and make sure that you don't have some kind of cheek on the other side that you don't want to kind of put in the same element there. All right, if we got that mark there, we can bring that down if you want, but don't overdo it. Don't put in too many lines. Too many lines means it gets dirty and he gets older, and we're not looking for older here. All right, now next thing that I would look at here is these eyes. The eyes are good. I'm going to say the eyes are good. If on a scale of 1 to 10, you got a likeness of a 6 or a 6 or a 7 there. You can do more though, and here's how you can do more. Focus your attention on especially getting likeness in the eyes. Eyes are incredibly important in likeness. How do we get more likeness in these eyes? Okay, here's the first thing. First off, you did great. You did great, okay? They are going to buy this caricature and they're going to be perfectly happy about it, all right? But I want to help you improve, okay? So yes, you're going to make sales with what you have exactly right here, right now, and they're going to love it. But I know you can step up to 11 and give them even more because I know who you are and I know how your style is. So what we can do here is, you know what? You can even exaggerate the eyes even further. He is a squinter when he smiles. Have fun. Make that squint. And you kind of did, but why not go even further? Also, pay attention to the corners of the eyes, and I talk about the negative space of the eye all the time, okay? So don't be afraid to look at that negative space full of black there and really shove those eyes up into it even more, even more. Look at where the laugh line is on the eye and see if you can add that in there. Is there a bag under the eye? Use it, but use it gently, okay? Just very gently. Look at how the eyelid connects on the top there, okay? And then look at how deep that eye goes into shadow, okay? And you can work on all of that and refine that up just a little bit more. All right? I know it's not much different, but you got to say, this eye in comparison to this eye, there's a pretty big difference there. And then once you put a highlight in there, if I just went and put a little highlight in there, suddenly it pops like crazy. And that's one of the things that you're going to be looking for. All of my mustache hair is going up my nose and just making my nose go absolutely crazy. So if I'm rubbing my nose a lot, that's the reason why. All right, not because I have coronavirus. Okay, anyway, other side, same idea. We can go like this, and I obviously don't have the right color. Let's go pure red. All right, and same idea. We can think about how we can get that laugh line. Now, what is making my eyes look so much more expressive than yours? I've mentioned this in our first class, and I taught a lot of stuff in the first class, so I know everyone's not going to get it in the first try. Here's what I made mention in the first class. The best way to push a great likeness out of someone is to get the joy in their eyes, and one of the easiest ways to do that is to get the bottom eyelid turned up, not down, not this. Not that. This. So let's say that that's the tear duct. And you need to go down just because it's natural. And then get that eye pushed up like the cheek is just getting forced into that eye. You would be so surprised how much joy is in the bottom eye, but not in the top. The other guy looks sleepy, looks freaked out, looks scared. This one looks excited. And that's what we're trying to do here. We want to show that in this guy. And he obviously has those eyes. So don't be afraid to push that eyelid up and get it forced up there. And that's going to make all the difference in that, in a major way. I mean, look at that alone. That is such a yeah, the eyes are screwed up. I got to readjust those a little bit. But you can see that in that moment, that's readjusted. It feels a little better. Thankfully, we're digital artists, so we can get away with making some adjustments. So let's go ahead and go like this, and we'll move it just slightly here, and maybe make it a little bit longer just because. Hey, by the way, great job on seeing those eyebrows. They were worth exaggerating, and you nailed it. Great job. Something I like to find is you got this very square shape here, which you nailed. But then you got this little furrow of hair right there on that side. And you'd be surprised how much likeness that'll add to a caricature. So don't be afraid to do that as well. So yes, great job exaggerating that eyebrow and seeing the darkness in it. Excellent. And don't be afraid to push that and have fun with that. That is awesome. You get full marks for that. And filling it all the way in, also excellent. I don't even do that, and I should do that more often. But then get that little extra tuft sticking out there, and that can really help. Same with the other side. Do you see it? Not really. All right, but what I do is I try to follow that eyebrow from the nose up, okay, and then I'll add that in there. Now I do that specifically because I do a cheater's caricature. So drawing in 3/4, but not drawing in 3/4. All right, so that's why half of my face here, everything on this side here, is a bit more detailed on that side of that nose than on the other side. That's why there isn't a connecting piece on the side of that nose. Great job on the hair. You caught the likeness in the hair. Excellent, excellent, excellent. I would change my cheek a little bit here, and I would actually bring that up a little bit higher all the same, because that cheek is actually going to connect towards the forehead there a little bit more. So that's little things like that. Now, here's the thing, though. If those cheeks aren't showing that boldly, don't draw them in. You know, now I think I would probably calm down them a little bit, but not by much. Especially if it's a realism caricature, a caricature in a real life scenario. Here's another thing, just a little note. His ear is very round. He does not have a reshaped earlobe. There's not a dropping earlobe secondary from that. So get why you did it, but because you're probably trying to work fast, but giving that ear its actual shape is also going to help with likeness. All right. Now, if you feel like it's sticking out there, go ahead and draw it. I feel like I drew it out a bit too far, but at the same note, actually, I would probably even calm that back a little bit, because I'm using yours for reference when I probably should be eyeballing it for myself. I'd chill it back there just a little bit and look at the other side, and I can barely even see it, so I might even just tuck it in back behind the ear. And honestly, as I start doing that and I start seeing how much that is affecting the caricature, then I go and I move on from there to see about how important that really is in the final piece. Okay, so I would probably draw them in, but I would probably readjust them slightly, remembering that if I'm using this alignment here, the ear will probably be up towards that eyebrow as much as possible, but it'll be probably closer to the bottom of the eyebrow and also into below at the edge of the nose. All right, roughly kind of like that, give or take. Neck is fine. Nothing wrong with the neck. There is a chance that you could add some more personality to it. Guys like necks with a bit of personality, so don't be afraid to add an extra line in here that you can kind of see here. It's a natural V of the neck, and if you want to go fun, you can even add an Adam's apple in there, something like that, just to kind of give a little bit more detail in there. Not a requirement. Something else I used to do a lot of times is I would add a heavy shadow in here. Depending on how the person's face was built, it would be a natural place to add a shadow, kind of like that, which can add or subtract. It really depends on the caricature. You have to decide per person on that one. Otherwise, hat looks good, hair looks good, and you got that down. And like I said, the likeness was already there. I'm just helping refine it and build that up a little bit more. I love the personality in her eyes that you got. 100%. Love the personality in her eyes. And I think I love that you saw the depth on the top eyelashes and the bottom eyelashes. She's got really gorgeous eyes. Really gorgeous eyes. So getting that attention to detail in there is great. I bet you those are false contacts. Might be. I don't know. But she's got great eyes, so forcing the exaggeration on those eyes is a must. So don't be afraid to push those eyes, but you nailed getting that really thick eyelash all the way through it. And let's take a look at her eyes here. Even though her eyes are that big, you can get away with really pushing those eyelashes, obviously, and bringing those eyelashes down. But even you can kind of get that eyelid pushed up. Not by much, but I mean, because that you want to make sure that you really see the full detail of those lashes. But up here, at least in the front, you can even push those eyelashes up just ever so slightly to get that joy in the eyes. She doesn't have a lot of joy showing in those eyes, but that's something to note. But in any case, You did a great job on the eyes. I'm very pleased to see that you saw the amount of black in those eyes that really does bring out that in her face. I mean, that is obvious that she uses a lot of mascara around her eyes and has a lot of personality in those. So really make sure to get that out there, and you really did that. So I'm very pleased with that. Other than that, you know what? I'm not going to critique this too far. I say continue to think about your space. I think that if we look at the space here and we were to consider that shape and form, roughly, she's got a convex laugh line, and you showed that through the cheeks. Something froze up here. I'm hoping I'm not crashing here. Don't crash on me. Wow, my voice is shot. Don't crash on me. Okay, there we go. So she definitely has she has a little bit of lean here, just slightly. So you showed that because you naturally drew in her cheeks, which is great that you did that form like that. And then don't be afraid to build off that form. I'm not saying draw a lot of lines around there. Drawing lines around there is dangerous. Also, okay, here's one thing. And I think I've seen you do this on a couple different pieces. All right. I want you to look at this. That's a W. And then I want you to look at this. That's an M. Most people have M smiles, okay? Most people have that dropped center lip. So it really would have helped with hers if you brought that center lip. And it's so sharp and jutty. Her lips are so sharp and jutty there because she's kind of pursing. Get that in there. That's a must. That's a must. I think that would really add to that. So really, look. And yes, she does have some lines on the side there ever so slightly. Just because of the shadows there, especially on this side, you can get away with that little laugh line movement there on that side, less on that side. So what you really got to do is you really got to think about this here. Okay, I'm going to do it the same way you were doing it. But I'm going to really build up that bottom V. And then she's got really nice, very attractive lips. So very sharp lips there. Think about actually building form into those so that they actually look like they're coming towards the camera in a way. And remember, those lips, top lip, you always shade darker than the bottom lip because the top lip is always turned away, tucked in towards the sun, where the bottom lip is always in direct contact with the sun. You'll be more likely to get a sunburn on your bottom lip than on your top lip. And then I would say she's pursing, so I wouldn't be afraid to actually push that pursing effect through that bottom lip just a little bit more. Okay? And even maybe add a highlight zone or whatnot. That's just the way that I like to do it. Not too much detail, but just enough. See, right there, I really feel like that helps with her lip design. And then you can add in your lines. But you got to understand what these lines are for. What are these lines on the side of the face? A lot of people think about drawing a baby, okay, or thinking about drawing a smiley face. So here's the eyes, here's the mouth, and then here's that. All right, what they're really doing is they're drawing the cheeks. All right, they're really drawing those cheeks. And technically those cheeks are tucked under the eyes. And they're affected by the eyes and the nose, and where the nose is, that squishes the cheeks, and blah, 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 so on and so forth. You get the idea there. So what you want to do is, those are created because of how the lips are pressing against the cheeks, and what's pressing against what, how much baby fat is buried in there. So you're probably rarely going to have a line like this. More so in babies than in adults. What you might have in adults is an area of shadow, which is exactly what she has. See how that just is kind of like a circular kind of shape of shadow here around that? And there's even a weird little shadow kind of going like that for the other side. That's because of the baby fat there. That's because of how her lips are affected by her cheeks. So what I would do is I would actually draw that in reverse, and I would fill it a little bit. And do the same on the other side, and I would fill it just a little bit. And look at what that gives you instead. Let's go ahead and move our zone over to here. By the way, excellent job on the eyebrows for her. Don't be afraid to go sharper with them in lines of making them sharper. Most girls will like those eyebrows just a bit sharper even if they're not really that way in real life. You know, most girls will want those nice tailor eyebrows. But here's the thing. I love that you saw the... I can't turn my canvas. There we go. I love that you saw how boldly they were coming down. Okay, I love that. You noticed that and you caught that, and that's excellent. Okay, so excellent work. And seriously, you're doing great stuff. You're going to be making bank in sales and time, you know, and you're already making sales and people are satisfied with your work. And all you got to do is just build on top of that and improve it. And as you keep improving, the sales are going to keep coming. All right, I think that's about it for me. I know one thing personally that I try to do is I try to not build cheeks beyond the face on a girl, because that makes them look a little bit more chubby than most girls would prefer. So what I try to do is if I do see those cheeks on a girl, I try to build it within the face shape that I've designed for them, even if they're slightly chubbier, okay? So I will build the external part of the face, and I will have a theory of where that external part of the face is. And yes, if you want to have the jutty chin, you can. Jutty chin is your style. I know you like that. And then we can put in the beginning process of where those cheeks are. And then if you choose to draw in those cheeks, I draw them in from the side and take them down. Because that's exactly what she has going on here. And that's about it. It squeezes in the face, still shows the amount of weight in the face because you're drawing those cheeks, but it compresses it in such a way where it doesn't add to the weight of her face nearly as much. You can show the weight of her face more or less by how much you add. Oh, stars! Isn't that pretty? How much you add? How much you add down at the bottom where the stars were. If I wanted to make her skinnier, what I would quickly do to simply make her skinnier is remove less around the chin. Okay? On both sides. And that immediately will lessen how much she weighs. If I add more, then I'm going to not really round out much further. You don't want to go beyond. You want to kind of come to straight down, but you want to show it in the roundness of the bottom of that. Because at a certain point in time, if she gets too big and she starts building a double chin, what she's actually doing is the neck is expanding so wide that what you're doing is you're losing the face shape. The shape of the face is forming into the fat. Okay? And I know that sounds incredibly awkward, but it's the truth. I mean, that is how heavier people are. The face takes a form into the neck because the neck is pushing all that fat and building on top of that chin. That's why guys grow beards, because we can hide that junk. But for women who don't have some women do, but for most women who don't have that ability, this is what the nature of life is. And when someone comes in front of you and wants a drawing and is more heavy set, this is technically what you're going to have to do. And that is one of the challenges of drawing more heavy set people. You can still make them look beautiful. If you have to do this, draw as few lines for that neck as you can. Focus on the eyes, focus on the nose, focus on the smile. Get the personality in those and just try to pull all the detail and all the attention into everything else but their neck and the weight of their face. But I think you're getting what I'm saying, right? Those are the things I would suggest. And like I said, please remember, to anyone who is learning about art, this is a long and incredible process. And Jordan has come so far. And I know with this knowledge, she will run even further and farther and will do some truly amazing stuff. But I think if we take these and we put them side by side and compare them with this, we can really see where the difference can show between this and that. All right. There we go. Well, that's going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I do hope you've learned something from it. Please remember, I believe very firmly, if you are going to critique someone on their art, please remember that for every 20 positive things that you say about someone, one negative is the one thing they're going to take home with them. And they're going to remember that one negative, and they're going to stew on that one negative, and it stinks. That is why I am very challenged when I critique people. I'm honest, but I try to show everyone the positive, what this person has done and what they have become and how they are improving every single day, because I want you to see how far you have come. The negatives that you're hearing, do not let them seep into your head and eat at you, and just don't do that, because that is not what you're, that totally negates the beauty of what you've already created, and that negates what someone has probably already bought from you and is excited about and is taking joy in. Okay? So don't freak out. Don't freak out. Just take your time, focus on those details, build on them over time. You're going to learn and improve every single day. I know it from the bottom of my heart, and you're going to do amazing in the world of caricature, because I see your tenacity. You got it. You got it. You got it. You're already learning how to draw caricature without using outline, using pre-sketch. I stopped to use pre-sketch because that's important to me and my process. And thankfully, I don't have to draw in a real-world scenario where I'm drawing people every 5 minutes. I've been there. I know how stressful that is. I'm not having to do that, so I enjoy focusing my attention on that. But I say it again. I say it again. For anyone who is working in a studio situation, anyone who's working on your couch with an iPad, stop putting your attention on trying to get things done fast. Put your attention on the details right now. Because when it is time to get done fast, your attention to detail now will teach you what to remove in the future, and how that quickens your process. If you don't have the knowledge of this detail now, your work won't improve in quality. And that's the thing I want for you. I want quality for you and for anyone who's watching this. I want quality. I want to see your line work improve. I want to see you notice how the structure of the face shows better. I want you to see how light and shadow hits that face and makes the cheeks pop out further or not. As we talked about in our previous video, where we were showing how contrast is so incredibly important in shading someone's face if you're going to do a painterly approach. And all of this. But she is just, Jordan has come such a far way in such a short amount of time because of what she's learning from the other artists in our stuff, from the encouragement she's getting from the other artists, from the little suggestions I've been giving her. We've been watching her just soar to the sky in her artwork in no time at all. And I'm so incredibly proud of her. She is driven, and she is going to succeed in this. Jordan, you're rocking it. Please keep this up. Please keep this up. Awesome work. Awesome work. Do not let the little negatives that I'm suggesting here and the changes I'm making to your work, don't let that bring you down. Use that to take you even further. All right? God bless you guys. I'll see you in the next video right here on Draw Too Much. Leave your comments down below. I love your comments. Hit the like button, subscribe, hit that bell button, because the bell button means that you're going to come back for more when you get that notification that I released a new video, and I deeply appreciate it. God bless you guys. I'll see you next time right here on Draw Too Much. Y'all behave.